If this resonates for you, if you feel you want to amplify the unfoldment of your life and your purpose, this is an important decision that is needed in that. Welcome to the Seeing in the Dark podcast. My name is Nicole Costeres, and I welcome you in a space to find a deep trust in yourself, your intuition, and the deeper intelligence of life. In this podcast, I offer ways to cultivate your intuitive gifts and dive deep into the mysteries of power, purpose, and soul leadership, so that you can remember your deepest core and let your truest potential come alive. Dark, primal, shamanically wild, crystallized, bright, and subtly intuitive. So today I want to share with you about heartbreak and suffering. And I feel this is a very important topic when it comes down to living more from our purpose and accessing more of our soul leadership. And just to quickly get back to soul leadership, what I mean with soul leadership when I speak on that. So for me, soul leadership is so deeply embodying your own unique essence that you naturally inspire, teach, and assist others from that. And so in order for us to more deeply embody our essence and more fully accessing the power that lives inside of us, I feel there needs to be a very important decision. And this decision being, I choose heartbreak over suffering. I feel this is one of the decisions that have deeply ingrained itself in my being and in my life and in my lifestyle, and has helped me make like quantum shifts, big leaps. And like a teacher of mine says, it helped me to supernova myself. So where maybe normally development goes gradually, right? It kind of goes like step by step, gradually. When you supernova yourself, like my teacher says, it's like a star, like amplifying the burning of its fire, like really full on. And so if this resonates for you, if you feel you want to amplify the unfoldment of your life and your purpose, this is an important decision that is needed in that. I choose heartbreak over suffering. And so what I mean with that is that most of the people on this earth still choose suffering over heartbreak. So they stay in that job that they actually don't deeply feel anymore. They stay in the relationship that has actually completed itself already. They stay in friendships that maybe are actually already ended, but we don't want to let go. So when we choose heartbreak over suffering, we acknowledge the completion that is actually energetically already there. And we dare to let go. We dare to let go. And when we dare to let go, I feel a deep grief of the letting go can come up, right? So to give an example, 2015 was a year for me of, I would say, maybe the biggest change in life, if I look at my life. So in that 6 months of 2015, I decided to shave my head and my relationship, my job. I brought my dog to a friend. I stored all my things, gave a lot of things away, sold my car, and I went to India. Now, this I name in one sentence, but it contained a lot of smaller decisions in that ask for me to make that decision of choosing heartbreak over suffering, right? So, for example, I was in a relationship that was beautiful, a very loving man. We were living together in the same house. But every time when I would sense the timeline that we were on, every time it would sense the kind of lifestyle that we would see for ourselves, it just somehow didn't match. I just somewhere deep inside of me knew that this wasn't something didn't feel right. And I remember leading up to that moment of decision of ending the relationship, there were all these thoughts going through my head of like, okay, but I'm already 30. what if I don't find anyone that is actually a better match? Or what if I stay alone the rest of my life? Or what if I want children and I don't get the chance to find a new partner and start my family? And so I feel most of people on this planet, they then, because of all those doubts, decide to choose suffering. They decide to stay in a relationship, for example, that doesn't deeply, fully resonate to the core of their being, you know? And then because it's maybe okay enough, they decide to stay in it. But in essence, that is suffering. It's denying yourself of something that feels deeply and fully aligned. And so the moment I decided to end the relationship, it asks for a certain amount of courage. It asks for taking a leap into the unknown, but with a deep faith of what you feel is actually knocking on your door. And so, yes, there was heartbreak. There was sadness. There was grief, of the letting go. But in that, I knew something deeper, more aligned would open from that. And it was the same with my dog. Like, I had a beautiful dog back then, and I just felt like I saw the friend that I wanted to bring him towards. And I cried for 3 weeks before I went traveling because I had to, let go of him and bring him to my friend and let him live with her. And so many people would not have responded to that call from within because I would like all these thoughts went through me, like I felt like a bad person. I couldn't be really there for my dog anymore. He was like my best animal friend in the world. And what was needed then is to choose the heartbreak, to choose the heartbreak and allow all the grief that would come with that, all the guilt that I was feeling through that. And the beauty in it is we don't know the deeper intelligence. We don't know the plan of the deeper intelligence that is working us in that moment of such a decision. Because if I would have held on to my guilt, if I would have denied myself to listen to the deeper calling to go traveling, if I would have, kept myself small in that sense, I maybe would have still been with my dog, but I would have denied both of us something very powerful that actually happened. Because what happened for him is he went to a friend of mine who was in a really challenging place in her life. And she went through a really rough time. And until this day, she says that our dog, that's how we call it now, our dog helped her through it. She said he was the one who got me through it. And so we never know what the plan is of the deeper intelligence that works through us, right? Our logical mind cannot grasp it. But every time when we decide to listen to that deeper pull, that deeper calling, and every time we dare to choose heartbreak over suffering, there is a new level of alignment, of fulfillment and aliveness that opens up from that. I remember that I think it was 2018, I had my whole fall was scheduled. I was going to go to a mediumship training in the UK in the world's most famous medium school. It's like a Hogwarts of mediumship. And I was planning to, I don't know exactly anymore what my plans were, but I had my whole fall planned out and it felt deeply aligned and exciting for me. But that same spring, I went to Vienna and I ended up in the Vienna Academy of Visionary Arts. And I was offering a workshop together with a friend there. And as I got a tour throughout the academy, I suddenly entered into the art space and I saw a group of 20 people painting in there. And the moment, I remember this so clearly, the moment I stepped into that art space, I feel something light up in me so deeply. It was like I could feel my timeline shifting, and suddenly I saw a whole new fall planned out for me. And I was like, yeah, but I already paid for that retreat in the UK, and I already agreed on working in that project over there. But life was, no, 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 no. We have a different plan for you. You are going to paint here in Vienna for 5 weeks straight on the Art Academy. And so again, I needed to have the courage to trust that calling and to trust that change of timeline. Because the moment we decide to fully commit to the life force that is moving us, it can happen that suddenly a timeline switches and there is a whole new fall or a whole new spring or a whole new months and few years in front of us uh, laid out ahead. So I canceled all my fall plans. I canceled the mediumship training, and I, through some amazing synchronicities, bumped into a woman that was going to Hawaii, and I could rent her house in Vienna for exactly the time that I needed to join the art course. Yeah, even like I can share on and on and on, but that course gave me so much, so many gifts, so many gifts. I'm just sensing into, am I going to unpack that even more? But I, oof, there's so many examples of when I had the guts to choose, to let go, to acknowledge a certain completion or to acknowledge a certain switch of timeline and to go with that. I can see looking back that those were the moments where the biggest shifts were happening and where I would like supernova myself into so much alignment and fulfillment. And sometimes I feel these decisions of heartbreak over suffering, sometimes they can be really easy. They can feel really natural. Like looking back at 2015 when I was letting go of my relationship, my house, all my hair, my car, my dog, my life, basically, how it was at that time. That was compared to last year an easy letting go process. Yes, there was a lot of grief. Yes, there was a lot of courage needed to go into it, but there was also a certain like fastness to it. I was like picking up a certain how do you call that? Certain momentum. And looking back last year, for example, the last 2 years, there has been a lot changing for me around friendships. And excuse me. Yeah, with some friendships that I've been having for over 20 years. And this entered me into a very slow and painful process, to be honest, because where there was a certain fastness and momentum in all the decisions that I was making in 2015, like here, 2018 to 2020, it was a very challenging process for me to choose heartbreak over suffering. And so I found myself trying to adjust myself in these friendships, trying to be who I was as a teenager to fit in, struggling with trying to let it go completely and stay out of connection, but then also trying to find ways to be in connection again. And wow, all the way up to bringing myself as I fully am and then being completely not understood or received in that. And so for me, that was a much longer process where I finally felt I am ready to acknowledge the completion here. I'm ready to acknowledge the completion that has already been happening. And this is what I find, it's not even us saying, I choose heartbreak now. It's life already pointing towards a completion that is already there. And us having the courage to acknowledge that. And I feel this is something we can train. It's something we can develop. So wherever you are in that, I feel, yeah, it can start with something small. And each small decision where we choose heartbreak over suffering, where we choose to let go instead of trying to hold on to something that is not even aligned and alive for us anymore, we train and strengthen that muscle that will get stronger and stronger and more trusting and trusting to leap into that unknown, because we know life will meet us there. Life will meet us there. Yes. And also, like, I feel like every moment I think like, okay, I think now life like tested me in this way in all ways possible. But then life just brings another challenge and says, like, are you going to choose heartbreak over suffering also here? And what about here? And what about here? So there's also a point where I think I start to, maybe now I can say I start to see the humor of it, like the humor and the lightness in it, of life just inviting us to surrender deeper into that trust, to surrender deeper into that knowing that each time we choose heartbreak over suffering, it brings more alignment, more aliveness, and a deeper communion with the deeper intelligence of life, a deeper communion with the mystery. Yeah. So I want to leave you with this reflection today, to scan through your life and see where you are invited to choose heartbreak, where you are maybe still deciding in small or big ways for suffering. And it can be in situations outside of yourself. It can be in relationships, in friendships, in work, in projects. So even if your business feels fully aligned, there might be projects that actually are asking to be let go of. But then also inside of us, it can be beliefs that we carry around ourselves, around beliefs around life, beliefs around money, beliefs around relationship, that are keeping us in suffering. So yeah, welcoming yourself into this reflection of, where am I still choosing suffering over heartbreak? And what do I need? What do I need to have that courage to leap? Yeah. Sending you much, much love. Mwah.
Thank you for being here. You can learn more about Nicole and Women of Ancient Futures by downloading her free meditation, Melting into Your Most Free and Alive Self, on her website, womenofancientfutures.com. This meditation guides you into a meeting with a parallel version of you that is already deeply embodying her core qualities and can offer a transmission on the next evolution of who you are becoming. So, if you want to receive a powerful guided meditation to connect to your most free and alive self, receive inspiration, support, and guidance from her, and return to a deep connection with the potential that lives inside of you, go to womenofancientfutures.com and get direct access to this welcome gift.